Hi everyone, this is AJ. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my little chat about the latest episode of Resident Alien. Let's just get into it. Okay, so this latest episode of Resident Alien is called Radio Harry. Now, before we talk about this, let's have a little reflect on the elephant in the room, that being last week's episode. Yes, now it seems like a massive amount of time for me has passed since last week to this week. I don't know why. I think it's because of the negativity received by last week's episode. In my comment section, no one seemed to like it, which I understand. I totally understand. It was very preachy. It was very anti-men and this sort of a thing. It had an agenda to it, a woke agenda, and that is never good. Now, a lot of people have actually jumped ship, or so they said they would do, from the series because of this one episode. Now, I understand that the series doesn't seem as good as what it did in its first season, and there's probably an element of truth to that, but also you got to understand that the freshness of season one is no longer there. When we started watching season one and viewed it all, this program was new and fresh and like nothing else on TV and this sort of a thing. And going into season two, you lose that because you've already had it in season one, so that freshness has depleted somewhat. But then we get this episode that just gave us message after message and was a bad idea, was a mistake, and I don't believe in jumping ship because of one episode. I don't, because it could have just been a blip, a one-off. All right, yeah, it could be a sign of things to come, but that remains to be seen. So I'm in for the long haul anyway. I don't give up that easy. So this episode here, we come into this episode, and obviously we know that both Sahar and Max Hawthorne have hidden the little ball from Harry. So Harry comes in and he sees them and tells them about the radio that he's making, but Sahar, more than anyone, distrusts him about this and has it in her head that this is probably a bomb, and she shares this information with Asta at a baseball match. Asta goes into believing this narrative as well, and she goes and sees Harry and sees the bomb, or the radio I should say. It's not a bomb, but she believes it may be a bomb, and she wants to go with him when he sets it off, and so they go on this hike, this camping trip, but only they're not alone on it. She brings her father and a couple of other individuals come along as well from the reservation and this sort of a thing, so they have to get away from them to go and send it off. She ends up believing him and all this sort of thing, but Harry only sets his people off for 50 years. You know, he says coming about 50 years to destroy the human race, when he knows that the people he knows will be dead anyway, or at the end of their life, because he sees the Earth as something worth saving from the destruction that we are causing to the planet, and so he sees this idea of wiping out the human race to be something positive for the planet as a whole. While this is all going on, we have Liv Baker, the sheriff's deputy. She realises that she's having memory blanks because she doesn't remember that she's taken a dress to the cleaners, and this has all been wiped from her mind. So this is pointing towards a future storyline, obviously, so it's going to come to light that their memories have been wiped, which is a good thing, because you need that. You know, the sheriff and the deputy, what they were on to in those first few episodes was fantastic. It was a fantastic storyline, if not a bit too soon. I can understand that. And they were very close to Harry and catching him. But you need that sort of tension in the show to help carry it. The mayor and his wife, Mayor Hawthorne and Kate, they go off to Jessup because the mayor himself is still struggling with these feelings of jealousy that he's got over the ad that he saw for the town of Jessup, and during the baseball match he's very competitive as a bystander for his town against Jessup and this sort of thing. So you see this ugly side of him come out, this sort of jealous nastiness, this envy, green enviousness of him, and you know, the sheriff himself doesn't do much in this episode. He has a date and he storms out of it and this sort of a thing. Darcy ends up dating this, wanting to date this guy, and she goes and visits her parents, and she's not too happy with them, and in a little moment of empowerment she storms out of there, and you know, but she doesn't end up seeing the guy. She's in a horrible place. So that's pretty much the ins and outs of this episode. Now, the episode touches on themes of trust, of, you know, like I said, trust, jealousy, of environmental matters, shall we say. But at the end of the episode, or towards the end of the episode, Harry helps give birth to a baby on the reservation. And this is a great character growth for Harry as a character, and his coming to terms with Earth people and us as a race and how we are, and it leads towards a little bit of character growth within him as he sees a newborn being born. And you know what I mean, this will contradict his feelings about the 50-year thing and this sort of thing. So it's all fantastic. Linda Hamilton does pop up in the episode. We find out what happened to the other town's doctor. Yeah, and all this sort of stuff. So I feel that last week's episode was a blip. This week's episode was very good. You know, there were some great Harry's one-liners. I'm not going to bother with them putting any up in this episode. But you know, there were some great moments. I feel the show's sort of back on track, shall we say, not only because it started to play within the greater narrative of the series itself with the Linda Hamilton stuff and, you know, and the memory blackouts and all this, but because it's got away from that preachiness of that last episode. There was small amounts of it within this episode, very fine sprinklings of it, but it remains to see where that sort of stuff is going. But all in all, you know, it was a decent episode. Unfortunately, it's not utilising the stronger characters in the series, like the sheriff, you know, and Harry's interactions with the kids. They seem to be sidelined a lot more now. But these are the bits that actually, you know, where Harry's relationships with people are stronger. Not so much the sheriff, but the sheriff is a very strong character within the series, and for the past few episodes he has been sort of sidelined, and like I said, the children themselves. But no, very good, I enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you feel that the series has been tainted by last week's one still, or do you think that it's sort of focused a bit more now with this episode, and hopefully we'll be back on track and got that out of its system, that story that it wanted to tell. Anyway, so this is AJ, I'm getting going. Let me know down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.